ざっとこんなもんや。それにしても本当に世紀の大発見なんじゃないこれ。探せば珍しい遺物がもっと見つかるかも。そうすれば新しい観光名所になって街に。楽しみ。よーし、そうと決まればもっとしっかり調べなくちゃ。絶対にみんながびっくり。
Atelier is a long-running series, and we have been getting an entry consistently over the last few years, ever since the introduction of Ryza and the popularity that ended up booting. Now, one of the games that came out of that was Atelier Sophie 2, which is my favorite Atelier game, and since then, Atelier Ryza 3 and the most recent Yumiya, I didn't feel as excited about. The most recent entry in Yumiya I thought was an okay game, but didn't really harken the things that I loved the most about the Atelier series, and it was a little bit of a letdown for me. So when jumping into Atelier Resleriana, which is such a close release to that game, and it had ties to a mobile game, I was a little worried, but I am very excited to be able to share with you guys that this game is awesome. This one really blew me away, and I had really no expectations, but this ended up being one that even when I remember talking to my wife, I was like, I can't wait to log off work today and I want to go play more of this game. That's a feeling that really just feels good, you know? So today we're talking about Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist, and the White Guardian, and this one is going to be up there with a must-play for longtime Atelier fans. What's going on, guys? I'm Dom. I'm from The Game Looters, and today we're reviewing the game, and we're going to talk all about this one. But this one was a surprise, and it ended up being a homage to everything that makes Atelier games really great. It was cozy. I know people love that word now. It was cozy. There is a ton of synthesization, which felt really good. Shopkeeping is really cool. Town building is cool. There was charming characters, a really crazy, funky story, and an isekai element that brings in characters from all of the Atelier properties, and a story, like I said, it just really hooked me, and it had its claws in me, and that felt good. So let's talk about the game, and we're going to put a review score at the end, and I'll put my good and bad of the game. So make sure you guys check me out for that at the end, and of course, hit like if you like these kinds of videos. Okay, let's get into the review. First off, the story. This is a isekai mystery with classic Atelier heart. So right from the beginning of the game, you're going to be able to choose a protagonist, which is really cool. You have two options, Rias or Slade. Your choice tweaks the story perspective, but don't stress, both characters end up joining the party later and you can freely swap between them. So don't stress about if you picked one and not getting to experience the other. The adventure begins in a ruined mining town that was devastated 12 years ago by this red mist that occurred that basically just uprooted, made everybody disappear from the town. Just total disaster and plague. Rias, one of the main characters that you choose, and the one that I chose because she just felt right for this story and just for the Atelier series in all. So I went with Rias. Her main thing is she wants to restore her grandfather's alchemy shop called Mementos. Well, on the other hand, if you end up choosing Slade, he is searching for clues left by his father on a book, and he's trying to figure out this mystery of his father's legacy that he left him. It's a classic Atelier setup with an isekai twist, which I think is really cool. There's going to be characters that come across the whole Atelier series that are going to randomly appear in the game. They are going to appear in the game in a form of what's called Wanderers. These are going to end up creating really great crossover moments. You'll bump into fan favorites like Ryza, Sophie, and Aisha, and of course a lot of others as well. And they're going to offer you fun side quests and dialogue that ties not only the game, but the Atelier universe together in this game. One major downer, though, of the game overall, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but it's no English voice acting. I could not believe it. In the year of our Lord, 2025, there was no English voice acting. And although you might think, well, that's not the big deal, it really, really is. The Japanese performances are excellent, but with constant exploration banter, and I mean a lot of exploration banter. Most of it is subtitled, but you have to stop what you're doing to actually read what's going on. And the thing that I found funky is there's actually some banter that is not subtitled, and it makes it just a really frustrating experience, whether you're missing jokes or key details or just reactions to whatever you're doing from the characters. This is going to end up having you have to check the event log to figure out what in the world happened. Gameplay. So this one's a classic loop, and it is polished to a shine. Resleriana brings back the full Atelier loop and polishes it. There is turn-based combat, where you engage enemies on the field to start battles with an advantage, light attacks to build AP, and powerful skills that you can launch as well. There is a system in which turn order appears, and there's panel effects that let you have buffs or debuffs by acting at the right moment. There's also a guard or blocking system called precision guarding. This is going to reward you for blocking timely, and it's going to reduce damage and give you immunity towards certain statuses and ailments. Synthesizing. This is really, really good and really fun. In Yumiya, it wasn't fun. In this game, it's awesome. Recipes for synthesizing are going to end up using a colored node system. Basically, you match colors to unlock bonus traits, and you can even morph recipes off in branching recipe trees. So each recipe has a tree, and you can use the morph ability to find out more about it. It's streamlined, but it's really satisfying. It kind of reminds me of Ryza 1, which I think was just like, I don't know, I don't want to say perfection, but it was a lot of fun here. And I really like synthesizing, and I really hated it in Yumiya, so this was a breath of fresh air. Town growth. There is a town management system. So there's two things with it. There's town growth, where you can grow your town, and there's a shop, like a shop element to it. Basically, you'll manage your shop called Mementos with adorable fairy helpers, which they are cute and they are extremely charming. And you're going to be stocking your shelves, and you'll be stocking your shelves with different town type things that you need in your town, whether it's nature or farming or manufacturing. There's different ways that you're going to sell stuff, and it'll build your town that certain status. Shop upgrades are also going to attract new merchants. So as you build up your town, new folks are going to come into your town. And by doing this, also, you're going to end up unlocking decorations for your shop so that you can make it a better shop, which is really, really cool. Combat also feels really snappy, and it's fast-paced, and it is turn-based with multi-action, but you can speed it up speed it up and slow down, which is cool as well too. So you are able to kind of speed up your turn-based battles. Difficulty. So there's three settings. There's easy, normal, and hard, and this is going to let you tailor the challenge. Normal is, I don't know, it felt right to me. I think it's perfect for fans who want to play Atelier with maybe just a slight bit of a challenge. But you can go up to hard, which will make it more challenging, especially for certain dimensional paths, which are things that open up new areas. And if you go to easy, it's just basically story-driven, which I think is totally fun too. Dimensional paths, I talked about them, but they are they are a story element, and they're basically going to open up dungeons. The dungeons have different difficulty levels, so depending on the difficulty level you choose, it'll make how hard these dungeons are. But again, it's all pretty fair, so I think it's pretty par for the course. I think that it is good options here. The graphics, I played on the Nintendo Switch 2, and the game looks really good. It's bright, it's colorful, it has crisp character art, and has a really, really cool UI system as well too. So no complaints. I think it looked really excellent. Whether I was playing on dock mode or last night I was finishing off the game playing in handheld mode, and it looked really good as well too. So I think it's really nice and crisp. There are some weird light effects that it has that kind of that are on the top of your screen that are a little weird at times, but it didn't really hamper my experience. And overall, I think it looked really good. Handheld mode, like I said, runs pretty smooth. Both docked and handheld, it felt like it was 30 frames, but the game's a slower paced game, so it didn't really affect it much. 60 would be nice, but again, it felt like it was 30. There are some cutscenes that happen when you're doing like town restoration, where there's a lot of popping. Okay, so it just looks a little funky. And the last thing I'll say too, and this is more of the setting, not necessarily the graphics, but there are day and night cycles, and the transition to day and night can be a little bit jarring. So FYI there. And then your town overall, like I said, there's a lot of pop-in, and sometimes you'll even have NPCs pop in. But don't worry, they don't move, which I think is kind of a damper on the game. They're basically just like statues, and you can interact with them if you want, but there's not really a need to. No, okay. Navigation and exploration. So fast travel. There is a zoomable minimap, and there's a zoomable minimap where you can have it be small, medium, or large. And I always use the largest version because I'm blind. And as you are traveling around and exploring, there's going to be certain vantage points and swing points for you to be able to swing around and basically unlock each map like a puzzle. There are dimensional paths that, the dungeons that end up unlocking. They're going to be randomized, and they're going to have certain loot, and they'll encourage replay value as well too, because they do change as you leave, and if you come back, they're totally different. It's just completely randomized. Resource tracking, though, in this game is a little clunky. There's no map markers for ingredients, so gathering specific materials can be a bit of a grind. There is a way in the menu, like there's a menu inside a menu inside a menu where you can kind of figure out where stuff is, but it is not ideal. It would be nice just to be like, okay, here's the quest I have, here's where I need to go. The camera also can be a little bit janky and jerky at times, so just kind of beware that if you're susceptible to motion sickness, it can totally happen. Now, the sound and the music and all that, the sound effects and stuff. Soundtrack is so effing good. It is top quality, top tier. I think it's one of the best soundtracks in all of Atelier games. I think it's whimsical, it's fun, it's jazzy. The tunes really interact with the game really well. And you can change the BGM at any time as well, including where you're exploring. You can customize your playlist, which I think is really cool. The Japanese voice acting sounds good. Okay, so it completely sounds good. I think all the characters match. I had no qualms there, but the lack of an English dub is a huge quality of life miss in 2025, and I just cannot get over it. It really just dampened my experience. The length of the game and the replay value. So the game's gonna end up being somewhere in the ballpark of 30-ish hours, and if you want to do everything, see everything, you might end up going 60, 70 hours plus. To fully upgrade shops, clear every dimensional path, max out all your recipes, all that stuff. For me, it ended up being just shy over 30 hours. And it felt really good. I didn't feel like it was too long. It didn't overstay its welcome. I felt like I cleared stuff pretty well. I didn't feel like I skipped anything, so I felt pretty good after the end. The two protagonists and the randomized dungeons, they're definitely going to add replay value. And you can, if you started at Rias, you can play Slade. If you started Slade, you can play Rias, so that's pretty cool too. The narrative is going to stay mostly the same no matter who you start with, but there's going to be certain elements that kind of change. Like I said, I only experienced Rias, so this is just kind of hearsay, but based on what I saw, that's exactly what's going to end up happening. And for many players, it'll be a one and done, including myself. I probably won't replay this again because I don't really feel like a need to go back. Again, I don't feel like I missed anything, but I think that's a positive. But if you want to replay, there are certain things to do it. The verdict, right? Let's slap a score on this one. Let's have it be done here. Let's put a score on this one. Atelier Resleriana is the Atelier game I think fans really wanted. And after the misstep of Yumiya, I think it's the game that we kind of needed. It was unexpected. It was surprising for me. It really blew away expectations I didn't really have. And over here at the Game Looters, we're going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I'm going to solidify this one as a must play. Some of the things to take away. The positives: classic turn-based combat, polished to near perfection, okay? Cozy synthesis and shop management. Heartfelt story that celebrates the entire franchise. It is held back by no English voice acting and missing subtitles in certain moments. Clunky resource management. Abrupt graphical hiccups and camera movements and shakes that, they're not nice. Despite those flaws though, the sheer charm, the crossover characters, and refined gameplay make this a 9 out of 10 for me. If you ever loved an Atelier game, or you just want a warm strategy light JRPG with clever alchemy, then this one is a must play, and I cannot recommend it enough. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Let me know your thoughts if you're deciding to pick up this game or if you already have in the comments down below, and we'll see you on our next video review. Peace.